We are going to talk about clustering, or as some people call it, webbing. Now, clustering and webbing is really good if you're a visual person, so you like seeing things. Like here, I've got some circles going on. And it's also a really effective way to come up with ideas, and ideas that are related to a general topic. So the first thing you need to do is write your topic in the center of a circle, which I have here. So my topic is education. Now, in order to cluster or web this idea, what you're going to do is you're going to branch this idea off into smaller topics that are still related to this primary topic of education. So I'm going to start with 3 smaller topics. For example, I might say, okay, I'm going to write about the different types of education. I could write about the different styles of education. I could even write about education in different places. Now notice here, I don't have any sentences yet. Just like with brainstorming and listing, we're just thinking in terms of ideas. We're not thinking in terms of sentences or grammar. So after I have 3 smaller topics still related to that general topic of education, I'm going to now focus on each topic. So I have types of education, and I'm going to divide that into 3 different ways. Let's see, first we can have elementary education. All right, and I'm going to circle that. Then I'm going to go to, let's see, to university. Circling that as well, and then we can even do postgraduate. Now these are just the examples that I have come up with, because as we know, pre-writing is a personal process. So if you try to do this yourself and you come up with 3 other topics, that's perfectly fine. So now I've got 3 smaller topics related to this topic, which is types, which is still related to our main topic of education. It's important when you're clustering and when you're webbing that all of your ideas are still connected back to that first general topic. So if I want to, I could go to places, I could go to styles and break those down as well. Or if I find an idea that I'm really interested in and that I really like for example, postgraduate, what I can do is come up with descriptions that will play off of this as well. So maybe I could talk about the different areas. I could talk about the different majors. I could talk about the different jobs. Like I said, all of this relies on you and your personal preferences. So once you've completed this, now you have a good idea as to where you want to take your paragraph or your essay based on the ideas that you've come up with. So clustering and webbing, primarily dealing with visuals, so looking at all of these circles and making sure that ideas are connected. But notice, the farther we come away from this main circle, the more specific we get. So when you are webbing, when you are clustering, make sure that your ideas are becoming more and more detailed. That's going to help you when you outline or start to write your essay. All right, so our next type of pre-writing is called brainstorming or listing. And brainstorming and listing is just what its name says. It's a big old list. All right, now just like with your clustering and your webbing, you're going to have the topic. So here I'm using the same topic of education. And now what I've done is I've taken 2 or 3 minutes to list every related topic that I could possibly think of related to education. So here I've got ESLI, university education, education's important, money, long, you need more to get a good job, different majors, job changes, things like that. Now, as you can see here, all of these ideas are related to education, but they're not related to each other. However, that's not a bad thing. Once you are finished with your list, you can go down your list again and decide which ideas are better than others. Which ideas can you write more about? So, for example, you might want to mark out, okay, I'm not going to talk about ESLI. I'm not going to talk about how long it is or how much money it costs, but hey, this different majors, I think I could write a lot about this. Then you can go back and write yourself another list where you have similar ideas related now to this topic. So I've got a list here. I've listed all the majors that I know. Now what I can do is go through and say, okay, which one of these fits my topic, which one of these fits my purpose for writing, and which one can I write the best paragraph or best essay. So I might say, pre-pharmacy, I'm not too hip on, computer science, biology, physics, nope. I know a lot of engineering students, but hey, communications, I can write about that. So that way you can stop right there, or you can go on ahead, write yourself another list. All right, let's start writing about communications. And this process can go on as long as you want, as long as you have enough ideas for an essay or a paragraph. All right, so we're almost done. Now I have one more type of pre-writing to show you, and as you can see, it's called free writing or blind writing. Now, what free writing and blind writing do is they enable you to put your ideas into sentences, but write every idea that you have possibly related to a topic without worrying about things like paragraph structure. So the most important thing to take away from free writing is that you are not writing a paragraph. You're not writing your essay. You're just putting your ideas in sentence form. So if you're not a big fan of clustering or webbing or listing or brainstorming, you like putting your ideas into complete thoughts and sentences and like to have them make readable sense, this might be a good technique for you to use. So what I'm going to do to free write is first I'm going to start with my topic. I'm using the same topic that I did in the previous two examples of pre-writing. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write sentences of what comes to mind. So for example, education, I might start with Now, this is just the beginning of my writing. This is just the beginning of putting down ideas. My essay, my paragraph, might have something to do with the ideas that I write down here, but probably not all. The purpose of this is just to get all of those mixed up, scrambled ideas that you have in your brain down on paper. So, when you free write, what you're going to do is you're going to take your phone or take your watch and set a timer, maybe 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And as soon as you start that timer, you are typing. You do not stop, because when you stop to go back and think, or if you stop, go back and correct your spelling or correct your grammar, then your ideas have changed. All right? Remember, here with pre-writing, we just want to get our ideas down on paper. We're not concerned about grammar. We're not concerned about spelling. So now, I know now that this little red line right here, it's hard to ignore. It's very hard to ignore, especially if you have spelling and grammar set on your computer. But in free writing, you need to leave it alone. Don't go back and change, because then all of the ideas you have in your head are going to change gears. Instead of coming up with new important ideas, you're going back and saying, oh gosh, I misspelled that word. I must correct it now. That's not what we want to do here. Now, if you have a real problem with going back and fixing your corrections as soon as you make a mistake, which can be good when you're doing in-class writing, but not so much with pre-writing, then we have one more technique that you can use. This is called blind writing. Now we know the word blind means unable to see. When you blind write, you can't see what you write. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to cover my screen. Now if you're writing on a desktop, you can just simply click your screen to go off. I'm writing on a laptop, so I can't. So I'm going to cover the screen and I'm going to continue to type. I'm probably going to make mistakes. I can guarantee I'm going to make mistakes, but it's okay because my ideas are going to be the same. Let me show you. Alright, so my paper is covered. It's covering up my computer. Now I'm going to start typing. Now, I'm sure I'm making mistakes. I'm absolutely positive I'm making mistakes. I'm going to check. Gosh, I made a mistake. That's okay. Remember, pre-writing, you want to make grammar mistakes. You want to make spelling mistakes. We don't fix any of that until we get to revision and editing. So, to recap, free writing and blind writing, you're setting your watch, an amount of time. You're setting your phone, an amount of time. I would say 3 to 5 minutes, and you are just writing on your topic. Everything you write, you're not going to use in your essay. Looking at my free writing, I might just focus on chemical engineering, once I fix the spelling, because that might be the topic that I feel like I'm more interested in. I can always take this information that I have here and I could brainstorm some more, I could cluster some more, or I could start free writing. But remember, overall, all of these techniques that we've talked about today, you just want to get your ideas down on paper.